Oh, yeah!
Ladies and gentlemen!
Are you ready for your moment of bliss?
Because what Poppy wants, Poppy gets.
Yowie wowie! I don't even know if that's PG! Acknowledge me! Woo! Oh, you didn't know? Well, let me tell you something, brother!
Welcome to the most must-see WWE talk show in history. Welcome to
the Cream of the Crop Wrestling Podcast.
The cream of the crop! Nobody does it better! It's still real to me, damn it!
Hello and welcome to The Bottom Line, a wrestling review show giving you the gist of what happened. This is the bottom line of WWE Monday Night Raw, December 12th, 2022. You're listening to the Cream of the Crop Wrestling Podcast, the podcast that smells better than Otis's beard. We are the Alpha Academy of the program. I'm Patrick.
And I'm Rob, and we'd like you to embrace the Kingdom of the Madness by be sure to like, share, and subscribe. I take offense to Otis's beard. I think that guy probably smells ungodly nicely compared to what we think. He did pull Mandy Rose. You have to remember that.
Well, you definitely know he's probably smelling like cottage cheese right now after SmackDown. But if you could give us one word to describe the show tonight, Rob, what would you give us?
Let's go with first time in a long time, cliffhanger.
Oh, it was a good cliffhanger there at the end, wasn't it? And we'll get there. Well, let's dive right into the show because Monday Night Raw kicked off with the number one contenders match for the Raw Women's Championship, Bayley versus Alexa Bliss. Becky Lynch chased away Dakota Kai and Io Sky before the match even started, and Bianca Belair came down to the ring to sit at ringside. The match was an alright match, with both Bayley and Bliss trading momentum. Bayley was a little distracted, not having damage control there, and, the champ sitting at ringside, of course. Bayley went to remove a turnbuckle padding, and Bianca pointed it out to the ref. Alexa took advantage of the distraction, setting up and hitting the Twisted Bliss for the win. Then after the match, Bianca went to congratulate Alexa with a handshake, and Alexa held her arms out for a hug, and just as they hugged, the Bray Wyatt symbol flashed on the Titantron, and Alexa immediately grappled Bianca into position for a Sister Abigail. But then she snapped out of it before actually completing the move. Rob, what do you have to say about all this?
Match-wise, it was a fine match. Nothing spectacular happened. There was one spot I did enjoy. I think it was Alexa went for a sunset bomb off the middle rope, blocked by Bayley, and then Bayley went and did a sunset flip into the turnbuckle herself on Alexa, which I thought was a pretty fun, cool little spot. Right person won. I enjoy that Alexa won because we've seen Bayley and Bianca more times than we care to see. As much as I want to see Bayley finally get a win, this was not the moment for her. After the match, Bianca holds her hand out. Alexa changes and says, no, we gotta, we're going to go for a hug instead. And then all of a sudden, Bray Wyatt stuff shows up. So the inevitable turn that we're kind of waiting for here to get, however you want to call it, Dark Alexa, whatever name you want for this is what it's going to be. But
I like Dark Alexa.
Dark Alexa. Okay, sure. That's whatever you want to call it. Match-wise, I'm excited for it because it's something different. I don't expect Alexa to win, and in all reality, it wouldn't be believable for Alexa. I mean, Bianca is literally 5 times her strength. So, suspend your disbelief on that one. But I mean, we're just essentially right now, the big story is going to be, it's not going to be Alexa and Bianca, I don't think the championship's going to be the main story here. It's going to be more or less, when does Alexa give in to what's going on with Bray Wyatt, and how is that going to affect the match play out? So I think that's the bigger story than Alexa got a title shot.
Very important that you pointed that out, because last week they did highlight it for this contenders match, right? For Alexa leading into this match, that she has been on a flat run here recently since coming back from her little bit of time off that she had over the summer and, springtime. But like you said, the bigger story here is with her and Bray Wyatt, and that's obviously going to probably come into play and prevent her from actually getting the title, or maybe even it comes into play for her to get the title. That would totally be a swerve here. I totally expected Bayley to win this match, especially how they set that up. Yeah, I absolutely believe we were headed into another Bayley match.
Oh wow, no, I had no anticipation of Bailey winning, and I had full anticipation of. I actually thought Becky was going to come out and cost Bailey the match, but so she came out early essentially to get rid of damage control and made it a standard 1-on-1. There was no cheating, nothing happened. So yeah, I think we've run the course of Bailey and Bianca, so I was happy to see Alexa win.
Well, let's keep moving here because the next thing we see is Chad Gable and Otis arriving at the arena from earlier in the day. Byron Saxton stops them to ask about the milk truck incident on SmackDown, and Gable says Otis's beard still stinks. The OC walk past laughing, and Gable stops them to ask them what's so funny, and AJ Styles says that Carl Anderson is in Japan taking care of some business, but the milk truck incident is viral over there, and they love it. This sets up and leads to our next match of the night, which is AJ Styles versus Chad Gable. This was a good, decent back-and-forth matchup. You'd expect nothing less from these two. We had Luke Gallows and Mia Yim at ringside, and we had Otis at ringside as well. But there were no shenanigans. These two went at it, trading momentum. It came down to AJ turning a pin into a Styles clash and getting the pinfall. What do you have to say about this, Rob?
This is one of those matches that I've always wanted to see. I wanted to see more, and I also hope that later we can get a proper I would love to see them get 20-25 minutes because I think they could put on a pure clinic. Note beforehand with the Carl Anderson thing. So Carl Anderson's defending his never open weight title against Hikuleo, I believe, in New Japan. But also, I know we're not a news source here, but it's been confirmed that New Japan and WWE have come to terms to where Carl Anderson he will be at Wrestle Kingdom. So this is a first time ever New Japan, WWE under contract kind of thing happening right here. So that's a big one there. So I was very curious on that. I hope it leads to more things down the road. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah, Carl Anderson could actually be winning, and as opposed to giving up that title and having a big match at Wrestle Kingdom himself. So I'm excited for that. Match wise, like I said, look, there's nothing we can say that's going to ever be negative about a Chad Gable, AJ Styles match. The only thing I will say is time. Give them more time. Let them do more things. One of my favorite spots is, it's always right before the commercial, but I loved it. It's Gable just threw Styles into the steel steps and he just shouted thank you. And I just, oh man, everything about him just makes me smile. He does everything so perfect. I hope he gets his due one day and just give him some wins and just give him a push because he has fully deserved it.
Well, speaking of someone who's overdue, is AJ Styles.
Also true. I can't argue. Yeah.
He's been on a roll recently, especially after beating Finn Balor at War Games Survivor Series. So, I mean, what do you think's in store for AJ in the future?
So I personally, I don't know what they're planning on doing with the titles. I assume after Mania, the Universal and the WWE Championship are going to be split again, and we're going to have one on Raw, one on SmackDown. I hope. But until then, I think Austin Theory beats, who we'll talk about the winner is later, for that number one contenders match. I think Austin Theory has no issues with Dolph Ziggler. I think that one's going to be quick. I would love to see Theory and AJ Styles get a proper feud and have a nice, good, actual pay-per-view match, because I think, and I want Theory to win, because I think Theory should go over, and I think Theory should have a strong title run, but I think Styles would be a perfect babyface that is credible enough, has some wins, and can go on a run here to put up a solid feud with Theory that's going to just elevate Theory to that next level of getting him to where he needs to be as, in my opinion, a future superstar of this company.
I don't think we could say anything bad about a AJ Styles Austin Theory match either.
Oh, I would salivate over that one.
Well, let's move on, because the next thing we see is Johnny Gargano with Dexter Lumis backstage, and they've got a whiteboard with some drawings on it. Then Candice LeRae pops into frame and says what's going on, and that's what Johnny tells her is we're trying to figure out what to do with the rest of Dexter's money. And they show Candice how much they still have, and Candice says, well, it's the seasons of it's the season of giving. And that gives Johnny Gargano an idea, and we'll see some of that play out later on tonight. What do you have to say about this, Rob?
I want Johnny Gargano to be in a serious feud, but Johnny and Dexter together, they tickle me. So, just because Dexter doesn't talk, Gargano is such a child at heart. So like you see these whiteboard of like them in Iron Man suits. You see it like just little things like that. And then like Candace comes in as like the responsible wife who's kind of a Debbie Downer and is like, don't you have everything that you want? You got a kid, a dog, like all these things. You don't need anything else. And yeah, you do. Like, you know? So to me, like, yeah, it's a stupid Raw segment or whatever, but I thoroughly enjoyed it and I found it super relatable too. So I liked it.
Let's move on to our next match, which is the Street Profits and Akira Tozawa versus the Judgment Day. The match was pretty good. The Judgment Day controlled most of it, with the main focus being the Street Profits. It came down to Akira Tozawa building a rally, only to be stopped by Damian Priest, ending with Dominic pinning Tozawa for the win. Rob, what do you have to say about this match?
I really enjoyed this match. This is one that there was a lot of moments in there that kind of caught me off guard. Like there was a time, I believe that Montez Ford like just jumped and like cleared the entire announcer's desk. Like that was ridiculous. I thought Damian Priest really showed out in this match. He had a lot of good power moves, a lot of big choke slams on Angelo Dawkins. So I thought he had himself a wonderful match there. And I'm going to talk about this human being because I'm going to push for the 2023 to be the year of Akira Tozawa. Because this human being can work his ass off, but you know what he does differently? Like, okay, I'm going to use him and Mustafa Ali in the same category. Just two smaller guys that can work their ass off. But you know what one does better than the other? One gets the crowd support. Mustafa Ali, no one cares about him. In all reality, he comes out, people groan. Akira Tozawa, people want to see him succeed. People like him. And so, I'm telling you, 2023, Akira Tozawa, Rumble winner. He's going to beat Roman and then turn around and beat The Rock.
All right, I'm going to stop you. You're getting too carried away, as usual. I'm
King
with
of the
you
Ring.
With Akira Tozawa, definitely.
Money in the Bank winner.
Being that guy.
Both men's and women's.
We can list him with top hard workers on Monday Night Raw for sure, and he always has been. I agree with you on the fact that he does know how to work a crowd and get the crowd behind him. I think he's got that natural underdog factor, you know, mixed with his actual in-ring ability, which is great. You know, he puts on a show. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's great for Dominic Mysterio to be getting this exposure with somebody like that. So this is a smart move, I think, on Triple H's part, putting Tozawa right in the mix with Mysterio.
Oh, but on a serious note with all of this was a fun match. But I think it's also going to be a fun, different feud. Like, I know right now they're still doing the Alpha Academy and Street Profits a little bit, but this is, to me, is a way to shift over to something different for the Street Profits and the Judgment Day. And I think it could lead to a lot of really good singles matches for Raw. Like, I mean, personally, I think Montez Ford is actually a superstar in the making. So I joke about Tozawa. I love Tozawa. I know he's not, whatever. But, like, Montez Ford is. And so we could get with a feud of these matches with Montez Ford against Damian Priest, Montez Ford against Finn Balor, like Angelo Dawkins, who's been shown up. Like, there's a lot of good singles matches that could lead to, you know, just some hidden gems on Raw. So I'm really excited about all this. Plus, the Razor's Edge off the apron from Damian Priest, that looked so good. I loved that ending. That was a really fun ending.
Well, next we see Johnny Gargano and Dexter Lumis at the merch stand, loading up on memorabilia. And as they go to walk away, Dexter hands a little teddy bear to one of the kid fans nearby, which was a good, sweet moment. But then they make their way out to the ring, towing a little red wagon full of the memorabilia, and they start tossing the items into the crowd. Gargano even had a t-shirt cannon and was shooting t-shirts off the announcer's desk. But that's when The Miz attacks Gargano and Dexter and grabs the bag of money and runs up the ramp. But then Adam Pearce stops The Miz and tells them to go give Dexter the money back. They make their way back into the ring, and The Miz grabs a microphone and says he will do anything to keep the money because he is desperate. He'll even do a rematch. Gargano then suggests that they raise the stakes and they do a double or nothing ladder match next week. The Miz versus Dexter. But The Miz says Maurice controls all of their accounts, but he'll figure out a way to get the money. Then Gargano adds on that The Miz has to dress as Santa's little elf and help give the rest of the memorabilia away. And Adam Pearce says it's official. Rob, what do you have to say about this?
I don't know. Like, there's a lot of weird things that was happening here. I enjoy that the Miz says that his money is not liquidated. Like, all his money is tied up in stocks and things like that, so he doesn't have like actual cash on him. And plus Maurice controls it. And then he says, doesn't Candace control your guys' money? Like, asking like another husband to husband, like, hey, come on, you know that we don't handle the money, we're men, like that kind of thing. So it was a lot of interesting stuff. It went on a way too long, I will say that one. That there was a lot of, could have sped it up here. You could tell there was like, all right guys, we got 3 hours to fill, let's drag this out as far as we can. But one of the things that did come out of it that actually I hope we see more of, and I think we are, is, so we're talking about a ladder match next week. When's the last time we got a ladder match on Monday Night Raw? Like, so occasionally we'll get the cage match, and maybe sometimes we'll get the stupid, like, the Symphony of Destruction or random hardcore match like that. But, like, a ladder match on Raw.
That's what I'm excited about. I love that we're getting this ladder match. And I think it's due because we have so much time to fill before the next pay-per-view, which is the Royal Rumble. We don't have that December pay-per-view right now. So I was hoping we were going to get something like this, and I'm hoping that the end of the year shows, I know we're already getting John Cena on SmackDown. So I'm like, this is the stuff that I was waiting for it to happen, because that's going on within the next 3 weeks. And then after that, we have 3 more weeks till the Royal Rumble. It's a long time, but it's not a long time. And there's just that, I don't know. This is perfect. I love it. I'm glad we're getting the ladder match, and I can't wait to see what comes out of this.
Oh yeah, no, it's going to bring something great here. And kind of like you said, there's a long time from the Rumble. So like, you know, are those title matches, are those at the Rumble, or are they going to be done on Raw in between? Do you know?
No idea.
Okay. Well, when they do happen, folks, don't worry. We got your back and we got your coverage on that. So if you want to make sure that you stay up to date on everything, come check us out at Cream of the Crop Wrestling. You can find us on YouTube. We got a lot of videos up. We review every Raw, every SmackDown, and then when we got premium live events coming out, we definitely are going to review those as well. If you want to stay up to date on a lot of stuff too, you can find us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, as well as TikTok. We do videos trying to do days in wrestling history, and then we're also working on a new memorial thing that we're hopefully going to be launching a little bit later, where we're going to give a little bit more, I would say, respect to our past wrestlers and kind of make sure that their memory is not lost for what they created with the wrestling business as a whole. So this whole podcast is just to bring a lot of wrestling fans together and keep a positive energy around a product that sometimes has a lot of negative energy around it. So be sure to like everything you can with us. Be sure to subscribe to everything you can with us. And we appreciate all the support as we go forward.
Well, let's move on to our next match of the night, which is Io Sky with Bayley and Dakota Kai at ringside versus Candice LeRae, the Poison Pixie. This was a good match. It was even throughout. It came down at the end with Candice attempting a move on Io on the top turnbuckle, only to be shoved off, and Io followed that up with the over the moonsault for the pinfall. What do you have to say about this, Rob?
This match is one of those ones where it didn't get over with the crowd, and I don't care about that because the crowd is wrong in this situation. This match was fantastic. These two women worked their asses off. I mean, sorry, excuse my language, I don't know. But the Poison Rana on the outside, like, that was a big moment that crowd should have just freaking gone crazy for, and they just sat on their hands the whole time. So you two ladies did a great job out there. Right person went over with Io Sky. I know Candice LeRae, we're trying to get her a little bit of push, but we have a tag title match coming up, so Dakota needs some wins, Io needs some wins, make the credibility of Damage Control look better, because you saw Bayley losing earlier that night. So yeah, if they want to give these women more time again, please, by all means. But in the end, folks, this is just a filler match for a 3-hour show.
Yeah, I'm with you. The crowd didn't really react to this match, but this is probably the best Candice LeRae match we've gotten from her since she's been back, and she works great, especially with someone like Io Sky, who does, like, she's fantastic to watch every time she's in the ring, no matter what you know what I mean? So I enjoyed this match as well. But let's keep it moving, because the next thing we see is Kevin Owens being interviewed by Kathy Kelly when it's interrupted by Elias, who asked Owens if he'll be in his corner tonight. KO says he didn't forget the mental torment he went through with Elias. Elias says that was his younger brother Ezekiel. It wasn't him. And then Owens says the last time he was in the ring with Elias, he had a guitar smashed over his head. And then Elias tells him because Owens took out his brother, but it's all in the past. Elias needs him out there. Owens can't believe what he's hearing, and he says, "You need me. You need me." And then he walks away, and then walks back, kind of gives a sigh and shakes his head, and then walks away again. What do you have to say about this, Rob?
I love this. Like, these two guys, to me, are some of the two best on-screen people just when it comes to humor in WWE. It's literally these two plus Chad Gable. Like, that's it. So, I like to harken back, dude. I am not mad at all about what Kevin Owens said. He's absolutely right. Because Elias, Ezekiel, whatever you want to believe, messed with him all for the first half of the year. And then all of a sudden he gets smacked over the head with a guitar. And then he goes away for a long while. So, like, Kevin Owens is like, no, dude. Like, I literally, this is what happened between us. I'm not going to have your back in this. I cannot believe you would ask that. That's a perfect response. Like, that's Kevin Owens being true to his character. I don't care how much he hates the bloodline. He still is like, I don't like you, though.
This was one of my favorite things of the show. Despite what a lot of opinions may be, I loved the Kevin Owens Ezekiel stuff. I absolutely loved it. I loved Ezekiel. Them playing right into it. Everyone's in on the joke except Kevin. Or it's, everyone believes that Ezekiel is really Elias's brother. It doesn't matter. All of it was great. And I've been waiting for this. Like, I've been waiting for the Elias, Kevin Owens interaction since Elias came back. And this got me excited just to see them two on screen together. It leads right into our next match because we get Elias in the ring before his match with his guitar. And there's a picture of Matt Riddle. And he's got Matt Riddle's bongos on a little pedestal behind him. And this is the Matt Riddle tribute concert. Elias says he found some lyrics that Matt Riddle wrote, and he starts to sing with the chorus being, "Elias, you're my bro." And he goes to play a solo, only for Solo Sikoa to make his entrance with Sami Zayn, which leads to the match, Elias versus Solo Sikoa. It was an alright match with Solo controlling at the beginning. Elias was on the defensive throughout and trying to rally back and avoiding Solo's maneuvers. Elias built momentum but was distracted by Sami. Solo gained the advantage back and ends up winning after hitting the spinning Solo. After the match, Solo attacks Elias and hits him with the Samoan spike, and he goes to get a steel chair and he wraps it around Elias's neck. But then Kevin Owens makes the save and hits the stunner on Solo, with Sami running away. Elias then puts his hand on KO's shoulder from behind, and Owens turns around and gives him a stunner as well. What do you have to say about that, Rob?
So I enjoyed all of this. So we got shades of old Elias through and through at the very, very beginning with the song, and WWE stands for Walk with Elias. The crowd really got behind that. Like, it really felt like old shades of Elias, which we still haven't got since he has been returned. Match wise, it was a fine match. It did what it was supposed to do. Elias had a few, the spine buster spot in there was nice. The high knee, made you think he's going to get on a little run there. Hell of a super kick by Solo Sikoa before the spinning Solo. That was a great, great kick. Elias was out on his feet on that one. So, after the match, I like the idea that he's still doing the Samoan spike for little Umaga tribute there. And then he brings out the chair, which I love when wrestlers do a certain spot that injures one wrestler, maybe injures another wrestler, and then they're going to do it on someone else over and over and over again. Like, I love that. And the fact that brought Kevin Owens out, he got there and, hit the stunner on Solo. I can't wait for the Kevin Owens Solo match. We got a little bit of taste of it in the War Games. Eventually it's going to have to happen, but right now, Kevin is. I am curious on how the crowd is going to. They love him. It's Kevin Owens. They're going to love him. When the turn happens and the bloodline beats up on Sami, whenever it happens, could be this Friday, could be Rumble, could be we don't know when. But when Kevin and Sami, when they have that hug moment that they're finally together, I will cry. but that crowd is going to come so unglued. Oh my God. Like, I cannot wait. I genuinely cannot wait. I hope it's an Elimination Chamber, because Elimination Chamber, I don't believe I'm wrong, is in Canada. So to me, that's like the perfect opportunity, but we'll see. We'll see. Either way, fun segment, good segment. Get the bloodline on there because I always like them on the TV, and Kevin Owens, of course, looks like a badass. So everything about it, great.
Well, before our next match, we see photos of The Miz dressed as an elf, handing stuff out to fans, with some fans hugging him, and The Miz looking like an angry Santa little helper. What do you have to say about this, Rob? Miz holding out on his, or not holding out, but The Miz staying true to what he was saying, and he'd do anything to keep the money, right?
I guess it, yeah, I don't know. Just K. That's all I got is K.
I love how, okay, so the famous the famous picture is angry Miz girl, right?
Oh, yeah.
So this is totally The Miz. It's opposite. It's
okay.
You know what I mean? I love this.
That's fair.
Moving on to our next match, it's Asuka versus Rhea Ripley. Asuka comes out with no makeup on. She doesn't have her face paint anymore. She's been teasing this all week on social media. I believe it's a callback to her old Kana persona. Rhea came out with Dominic Mysterio, of course. And then this match was a pretty good match. Rhea overpowered Asuka throughout, and Asuka countered with submissions and relentless strikes, looking like the Asuka of old. It came down to Asuka putting Rhea in the Asuka lock. Dominic put Rhea's foot on the ropes, and Asuka turns around and spits blue mist in Dominic's face. Rhea shoves Asuka into Dominic and hits the riptide for the pinfall. We see Dominic complaining about his eyes after the match, and Asuka was clearly frustrated with her loss. Dominic is showed later on getting medical attention with eye drops, and Damian Priest says it could be worse. Something burns a lot worse than that. So what do you have to say about this? Let's start with the match, Rob. What do you have to say about the match?
I love the match. It's not like a classic by any means, but these two women to me are two of my favorites. Right person went over because I think to me, the eventual title match and the person that needs to beat Bianca is Rhea Ripley, because she is the women's star right now on Raw. So anytime she's in a match, she has to win, and that's my opinion. I like how Asuka needs a change. Asuka needs character change. Right now she comes back, she's boring. She's been doing the same thing for a while, and I'm kind of with it. So this is a wonderful change. I can't wait to see as it evolves in the next few weeks. And then I definitely, because you can see like the strikes, especially like there's the moment where Rhea was on her knees and Asuka gives her a huge slap across the face, followed by a huge kick to the side of the head. And you could just tell they're a little stiffer than they usually are. And so it's just, you're hearkening back to that old Kana character that you were talking about when she was over in Japan wrestling. And so, add on top of that, I like Dominic. I'm not going to use Bobby Heenan because that's too much of praise. We'll go Jimmy Hart. Dominic's role when he's outside as a manager is so good. Like, he almost has I'm going to go more Jim Cornette on here, where the crowd gets so excited when he gets his. Like, when he got the blue mist to the face and, like, was trying to rub it all, and, like, Rhea goes out there with Corey Graves reaches over and gives a towel and a bottle of water to rinse it out and all these things. But the crowd, when Dominic gets his, loves every second of it. And it just feels so old school manager that when, like, the babyface finally grabs the manager and gives him one punch or something, like, the crowd just goes nuts. And I'm not going to go Bobby Heenan because that's too high of praise, but man, Jimmy Hart, Jim Cornette level, okay. Yeah,
he knows how to get heat. He knows how to get heat.
He does, man. It's so good. And so, like, and then backstage, I thought, I'm a big Damian Priest fan, so that line just made me laugh. I know you hated the joke, but it made me laugh. And I love Dominic saying, "Is this guy licensed?" He's like wiping his eyes out too. So it's everything they're doing right now to me just hits perfectly. They're doing such a good job with all of it.
Yeah, this got me really excited to see Asuka going through any sort of change, really. You know what I mean? I did see the photos that people are talking about, and I love how they even mention, like, she used to be like a buzzsaw. She used to be very overly aggressive in her matches. And you see that come out here. But then the best thing is the frustration you see her have at the end of the match. And I think this is a little background storyline we're getting. And we got the same thing with Alexa Bliss with the Bray Wyatt stuff. It just kind of slowly built up, and now that's the main feature. So I cannot wait to see what comes from this with Asuka. We got a promo from Dolph Ziggler backstage. Dolph talks about how important the U.S. title is, and he tells us that Austin Theory is a paper champion who should be able to put this company on his back, but his arrogance will be his downfall. And it ends with Ziggler telling the champ to watch your back, kid. What do you have to say about this promo, Rob?
I like serious Ziggler. As long as we don't get yelling Ziggler, I'm always happy. So yeah, because there's a lot. It
should have been me. I love that. I love that version.
That storyline. No, that storyline's fine. But man, sometimes Ziggler thinks if I want to show emotion in a promo, that means I just yell louder. And sometimes, quieter is better. And like just bring in a little bit of intensity. So, promo was excellent. I think it helped that it was in kind of more of a studio as opposed to in front of a crowd. So yeah. I'm excited for when that feud finally kind of kicks in. I think they're going to put on a great match because, of course, they are.
Dolph has always been one of my favorites. I think he is another one of those dark horses that's just a really great worker. And I'm glad to see some more Dolph Ziggler stuff. I loved the stuff that he was doing in NXT before this. I love that we've been having this storyline of him messing with Theory and just... Like, I want to see it, honestly, the way, if I was to fantasy book this, I want to see it go in a direction where it's like, Ziggler's trying to take Theory under his wing. And, I mean, I don't want to necessarily see them as, like, a tag team duo, but to see, like, like, how JBL is with Baron Corbin. I mean, especially if we could get a potential Austin Theory versus John Cena match, who would be a great person to have in Theory's corner for that, other than Dolph Ziggler?
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, Ziggler's had a lot of matches with Cena, so he could have a lot to teach him, and it would make more sense than with JBL and Corbin, because JBL can't get in the ring and show him things anymore. Now he's just annoying, which we didn't have JBL and Corbin tonight. Shucks. So yeah, no, I am curious to see where they go with the storyline, but I'm more just excited for the matches because I think they're going to be really good.
Well, it's time for our main event of the show. It's the number one contenders match for the United States Championship. Bobby Lashley versus Seth freaking Rollins. It was an even back and forth trade-off with him using almost every move in their repertoires. It came down in the end with Seth going for a stomp, but Lashley held firm, not taking the stomp. The referee gets knocked to the floor and was slow to get back into the ring, while Lashley hit a spear, only to get a 2 count because of the ref, being slow to get back. He argues with the ref about it and attempted another spear, but Rollins counters the spear into the pedigree and got the pinfall. Rob, tell him what happened after the match.
So after the match, when Lashley got up, the referee was essentially he was out and Lashley would have got the pin. So Lashley's upset. So he gets up and he goes to talk to the ref and essentially, gives a spear to one ref. He hits an elbow to another one. So Adam Pearce comes down and a few other officials, and they confront Lashley ringside. And Pearce is telling Lashley to get out of there, just talking, essentially telling him, what he's doing is wrong. Then all of a sudden, Lashley just grabs Pearce and just shoves him. And as Lashley is heading up towards the ramp, Pearce angrily tells Lashley, not get out of here, not you're suspended. He looks at Lashley and he says, "You're fired." And Lashley just looks wide-eyed and confused and upset. And then we just get that Raw trademark on the bottom right corner.
What do you think's going to come of this?
I mean, obviously Lashley's getting some time off, but but let's talk about it in actual wrestling terms. I genuinely don't know, because I know people when they go away, that means they're going to come back with kind of a new character. But Lashley's character is so good right now, so I don't know. This actually has me befuddled. I can't sit here and think of...
He's too prominent on Raw, too, to move to SmackDown either. Dude, not yet. You know what I mean?
Okay, so let's list this for a second right now, what's happened with Raw. In 2 weeks, we've lost Riddle, possibly Elias, and now Lashley. This is a 3-hour show.
We've got, we've seen with Triple H there being a rotation of superstars and a rotation of storylines, and we still have those 6 weeks to fill till the Royal Rumble. So I think this is a creative way of dealing with real life problems like Matt Riddle, a way to maybe, I don't know if we're going to get Elias taking some time off as well. Like, it would make sense to keep along with kayfabe of the injury angle that is in making the Samoan spike so devastating, which it's interesting that he uses it after the match, but not during the match. So that's weird to me. And then, I mean, Bobby Lashley, so with Rollins being the number one contender and Ziggler also vying for the tag team titles, or the US title, and then, Mustafa Ali is lurking in the background somewhere with his eyes on the same title. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on.
No, there's a lot of moving pieces going around with that title. I roll my eyes on the Mustafa Ali stuff. I hope we're done with that. And I'd like to see Theory just get a clean win over Rollins. I think that would be perfect because obviously they're doing a Theory Ziggler thing and they're kind of building it up before the Theory Rollins match already even exists. So you're kind of showing your hand a little bit, but whatever, it's fine. Obviously Bobby's just taking some time off or something, and he'll be back in January before the Rumble. Because, we still got to get that rubber match between him and Lashley, either at the Rumble or at Mania, one of the two. So I don't know if it's a character change because his character is great right now. Maybe he hires himself an agent that gets him back in, and that agent is none other than MVP, and we get a Hurt Business revival. That would make me happy. That would be worth every second of this. Oh, man, yeah. I would love to see a Hurt Business revival, so this is one of the few times they ended on a cliffhanger that we talked about at the very, very beginning of the show, and it has me genuinely curious on what the next follow-up is going to be. Like, are they going to say anything next week about the firing, or are they just going to show a video promo or a video package that it existed? Like, Adam Pearce fired someone. We know Triple H is in charge. What's Triple H going to say to Adam Pearce? Is he going to back him up, or is he going to have a statement? Something has to be said.
Pierce did warn Lashley last week that he can't be putting his hands on officials. So this plays into that. And I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. This is an interesting way to just keep us more or less hotly entertained. Like we're staying on top of this. We're going to, like you said, we're definitely interested on where this is going because we have no idea where it's going. And during a slow period that we're going to see with the holidays coming up, we have, we have a lot of time to fill before the Rumble, which that's when everybody's eyes really lock on to the product is around Rumble time. You know what I mean? And they watch it all the way through till Mania. So again, I think this is just a way to keep good ratings, and I'm not mad about it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's our program. You can show us some love with a like, leave us a comment, and give us a subscribe. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and TikTok. All of our content can be seen on YouTube, and you can listen to our podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Podcast. Until the next episode, I'm Patrick.
And I'm Rob.
And we thank you for listening to Cream of the Crop Wrestling. Good night.
Thank you for listening to Cream of the Crop Wrestling. You can embrace the madness by finding us on Facebook at facebook.com/creamofthecropwrestling. Follow us on Twitter at creamofthecropw. Subscribe to our YouTube channel by typing Cream of the Crop Wrestling in the search bar. Have fun with us on TikTok at Cream of the Crop Wrestling. And you can always find full episodes of the podcast wherever podcasts are found.
Nothing means nothing.
Nothing means nothing. What do you mean by that?
More, I'm talking about all the way to the top, yeah. Unjustifiably in a position that I'd rather not be in. But the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah. You know that I'm the cream of the crop. The cream of the crop. Nobody does it better.
Oh, yeah.